Ladies and gentlemen,
Welcome once again to the TangentCast. Forgive me if I'm not on top of my game this week. I'm not feeling 100%.
and I'm also paying more attention to her cat, to be honest.
Yes. So, how have you been?
Rocking backwards and forwards.
So, business as usual then?
Yeah, basically. So, as you're probably aware, been reviewing the GTX 1070, which we were sent. Unfortunately, it just happened to coincide with a bit of a Windows/hardware failure thing.
Of course.
And because we only had a week to review it, I was like...
Many tears ensued, basically.
Yeah, I was becoming very wide-eyed. And then there was a bit of bargaining and reasoning with trying to get Windows working. That didn't work. So I basically spent 1, maybe 2 days getting all the benchmarking back to normal, installing all the applications, all the drivers, and...
Yeah, thankfully the people who sent us the card were understanding and gave us a couple of extra days.
Yeah, basically.
So that was fun.
Yeah, pretty much.
Have you had time to play much, with all that?
Little bits here and there, but not that much, to be honest. I've started I Am Setsuka.
Right.
I can't remember the name of it.
I think it's I Am Setsuna, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's Setsuna. It's actually really good. It's like an old school JRPG, and Clyde, who is now her cat, decided to lay on my foot.
Sitting on his foot, because it's the most appropriate place to sit.
Okay, I'm going to have to give Clyde attention, because otherwise he's going to just like molest me. Alright, there you go, there you go, Clyde. Paint me like a French kitty. Yeah, so what about you?
Well, first tell us, how is I Am Setsuna? Is it good?
Yeah, it's really good. It's what Clyde, what are you doing?
They can't see what my cat's doing.
Yeah, well, just... So, we had to put the cat out of the room.
Yeah. He just couldn't sit still. He's like, oh, the humans are recording. That's the perfect time to roll around madly on the carpet and chew on people's feet and stuff.
Yeah, he thought my toe was tasty, apparently. And then I just gave him a stroke and he was like, hum!
Yeah. So, you were saying, I Am Setsuna.
It's pretty damn good. I'm obviously really early on at the moment. I'm only about an hour-ish in. But it's pretty awesome. It's like an old-school Japanese RPG.
That's cool.
So it has... The best way I could describe it is shades of the early Final Fantasies with shades of Chrono Cross.
Good mix.
Yeah, and a little bit of Dragon... all the Dragon games in as well. So it's pretty damn good. I'm enjoying it. I'm very early, though, so I can't tell you it's... worth picking up yet. But so far, early impressions are, if you like Japanese RPGs, go ahead.
Cool. As for me, I've just had a cough that's been hanging around the last few days and just really ravaged me yesterday and today. Not feeling too great, to be honest, but, I'm powering on.
What have you been playing?
Such is life. I'm playing a bit more Doom. Trying to get that finished, but obviously, because I've not been feeling 100%, not really been in the right frame of mind for a lot of it, but I'm trying to finish that. But I installed Yeast Origin, which I bought on the Steam sale.
That's a really good game,
probably
actually.
A couple of years ago now.
It's really good, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't play a huge amount. I want to say about 45 minutes or so. But it's really good. It's a really good game. I'm enjoying it immensely. I mean, it's a bit button mashy at the start, but then it might get a bit more nuance as you get more powers and other things. So
yeah, you fire lasers.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's a good game. Very good.
Are you going to the gym later, by the way?
Jury's still out on that one.
Well, I'm going to be doing cardio since I can't actually lift today.
He's got a boob on his wrist.
Yeah, I think it was like the overhead pressing I was doing.
Just lifting weights does that to you sometimes.
Well, as I said,
especially when you lift too heavily.
It wasn't actually the heavy. It was like, it was just like 3 exercises I'd never done before. So I was training like a competing bodybuilder I know. So he was like, yeah, I'll take you through a different workout. And I handled all the weights and intensity fine, but
just a new exercise, yeah.
Yeah, I think I might have just twisted my wrist at a slight angle. Or to be honest, it could have been a dozen different things, but it was that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, we've got quite a bit to discuss as always, so let's begin with Camp Strike Global Offensive.
Yeah, I was going to say, probably good for you to read that out since I've not got my glasses again.
So there's been a couple of updates since last week. It seems just when I think it might be over, more people are implicated in this whole mess. Now, the first thing that happens is that the Twitch streamer Phantom Lord was basically accused of streaming a CSGO gambling site. I think it was CSGO Wild, I think. Don't quote me on this. But it was a gambling website. You know, it doesn't really matter which one it was. Without saying that it was promotion, yada yada yada, and he has now had his Twitch account permanently suspended after Twitch updated their terms of service to say that they weren't going to allow streams of gambling, basically. So he's been shut down completely. I think his YouTube channel's still up, at least it wasn't I checked, but his Twitch channel is gone. So that's got to be quite a blow for him to lose that. And as well, a pair of pro gamers were also implicated in this whole thing they didn't own the website, at least it wasn't that, but they did take a lot of money from CSGO Wild, I think it was, with this one as well, to show their site, you know, show them winning, etc., and didn't disclose. But what they did do is change the description about a month afterwards to add disclosure. But there's a thing called the Wayback Machine, where that's very easy to show that someone's done that.
Yeah, pretty much.
And that's exactly what happened. Someone showed that, look, he didn't disclose it, and description is not enough, as the FTC have said multiple times now. So he's not even in compliance now, and he definitely wasn't when he originally uploaded the video. There's a pair of pro gamers who were implicated, and an entire team might have been implicated.
You know, and this is very off topic, I watch a lot of bodybuilding/fitness videos.
Right.
And there's an awful, and I do mean an awful lot, of sponsorships and product reviews and so on that go on into their videos, and most of the time they do not disclose either. There's an awful lot of it. So although it's rampant in the gaming industry, it's very rampant in the fitness industry.
Well,
I mean,
it's just YouTube. It's a bit of a Wild West at the moment.
And websites.
Yeah, because, you know, the FTC are only really recently cracking down on this type of thing to let people know that, look, if you take money for a deal, which you kind of have to do nowadays, unfortunately, you need to tell people.
Do you know one of the reasons that? Because I had a couple of people ask me, why do I take footage of the benchmarks and put them in, and often I'll put the results in of the benchmark.
Because otherwise you could just make it up.
Yeah, and see, the problem is there's a lot of people who will be like, are those results genuine? And the problem is, it's like, it's so damn easy as a reviewer to fake benchmarks. So for example, if you really wanted to, this is one of the reasons that there was one time that I actually thought I was going to have to redo all my, it was when I was doing the DirectX 12 comparisons.
Right.
Right. This is way back when the RX 480 was like just coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually thought I fucked up, and I thought I put the wrong settings.
Right.
I was like, oh, bollocks. And basically, no one would have known, but you would know. So,
yeah,
for example, one thing you can do to really easily fuck up benchmarks is you could slightly change, especially on YouTube, you could very slightly change the anisotropic, the anti-aliasing type, or you could, for example, custom make a resolution that's very slightly higher, or you could do things like adjust the CPU priority, or you could fuck up the timings of memory, or you could do something very simple like, for example, adjust the visual quality just ever so slightly so you won't be able to notice. Or you could just run 2 different demos and then include the one that has the results you want, which is one of the reasons that I try to be as transparent as possible. And the issue is, it's like a lot of websites, one of the problems that I've noticed is that there are a lot of the time people start to think, well, hang on, this guy's getting 63 frames a second and this guy's getting 57. And the issue a lot of the time is that they don't mention, for example, what the system configuration is, or do they have?
Seems basic. Like you're like, this is the system I'm running this on.
Yeah, or
obviously the CPU will affect a graphics card and the other way around.
Well, it's not just that. I mean, the CPU, for example, let's say you're running at 4K, even on a GTX 1070, you can be your GPU bound. But let's say that you're running a different version of Windows, or what drivers are you running, which is one of the reasons that I now have especially started to include all the driver revisions.
Yeah.
Because let's say, for example, you're running 16.2.
Well, more information to the viewer is better.
Exactly. So
and also it's not something irrelevant like what kind of pants you're wearing that morning. I don't think it really matters.
Exactly. I mean, I think that being as honest as possible. I mean, obviously, you don't necessarily disclose stuff like what hard drives you're running, which games aren't installed on, because that doesn't make any difference. But when it's basic information, and that's the issue I've got, it's like...
Well, it's even just basic stuff like, for example, a few days ago I did a video on Inside, and I'll be doing more. And the basic thing is to be like, this isn't a promoted video, but I did get the review code from the developer, so I haven't paid for this game.
Well, yeah, I mean... Which,
whether you realise it or not will colour your opinion, because if you got a game for free, it's obviously going to be, better in your mind than a game that you paid £15 for or whatever.
Actually, you might not believe this, but I actually have kind of the reverse opinion.
Like, it won't necessarily be like it's automatically better, but it's hard to judge a value proposition when you've been given a thing for free.
Like, for me, I try to actually justify almost more in my mind if I've paid money for something.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to give a game an easy time, don't get me wrong. I'm just letting people know that, look, I did get the review code from the developer, just so they know that there might be something, a slight, tiny bias, even if there's not.
It reminds me of like when you were young. Remember when like you were like 12 or 13 or whatever age, and then you had, I don't know, like you bought a game,
right,
and you got home, you're all excited. You're like jumping up and down basically in the car, like, yay, I get a new game.
Yeah.
You put it in, you've got the excitement, right? You've shined up the game real nice, you've shoved it into the drive, you've loaded it up, you get past the opening screen. You think to yourself, oh my god, I can't wait to play this. Oh wow, this is the worst thing I've ever played. And you try your best to like eke.
The thing is about when you play games when you were younger, I feel like we forgave a lot in our growing up games, because those were the only games we had.
Yeah.
Whereas now, like, I literally scroll through my Steam list and there's so many games I need to play. Even like 5, 6, 7 years ago, it would have been like, I just bought this one game. This one game has to last me till next payday. So even if it's like literally dog shit, I'll forgive it because it's the only game that I have that I haven't played 50 fucking times.
There was a game, and I don't know if it's called Atomic Runner in the States. I think it might have been called something else. But basically, there was a game called Atomic Runner on the Genesis.
Right.
And my freaking god, it was terrible. And it was like really bad. It's basically like you're running forward. And it's so, like, the controls were janky. It was really unfair.
Yeah, I mean, there was a game on the PS2 that I bought from a bargain bin, and I can't even remember what it was called. It was about you played this girl and you touch this demon sword, and then like you get powers.
I'm sure there's hentai that's based upon that.
It was awful. Like that is one of the very few games back then that I ditched after a couple of hours, because even my cheap student self was like, nah, I'm good. And there was another game, I can't remember what it's called again, but I bought it from a second-hand shop, finished it in 2 hours, took it back to the shop like, is there any chance I can swap this for something else, because it was awful and I finished it 2 fucking hours. And he said, well, normally I don't, but you can switch it for something else. I won't give you your money back, but you can switch it for something else. And I was like, okay. So instead I got Soul Calibur 2, a much better choice on that one.
You're like, decisions were made that were right now.
Yeah, I all is right with the universe now.
Yeah. Anyway, we got on a massive tangent there.
Yes, we did. So basically the whole Counter-Strike Go thing is pretty bad. One other thing I don't know if I mentioned last week, but I'll mention it again just in case. Valve have issued a cease and desist letter to 23 websites that this.
I love that. I love that phrase. It's a cease and desist. So not only do you have to cease what you're doing,
you have to desist.
Yeah, I love that. It's like, It's one of those phrases, one of those terms, one of those.
It sounds like something Judge Dredd would say. Just cease and desist.
It's like RoboCop.
Yeah.
You have 20. No, Ed 209. You have 20 seconds to
comply,
comply.
yeah.
You must cease and desist all activity. It's like, I don't know why that came out as more Arnie than.
Yeah,
Ed,
I was gonna say you said it was RoboCop, and then you did like a really terrible Arnie voice.
Well, no, I was trying to do it as Ed 209.
Okay.
You remember the scene where in the original RoboCop, and they're like, he's like, yeah, point the gun at Ed 209.
Oh
yeah,
just like you have 20 seconds to
comply. Yeah, and he complied, but
he complied.
yeah. And
It's
I'm
been
like,
so long since I've seen the original RoboCop. I might actually rewatch that.
1 and 2 were really good. I like 2. So, you know what's really weird, and this is very off topic, but I'm amazed actually how many people did not like Ghostbusters 2.
See, I liked that film, and yet, like, I went through my childhood thinking, yeah, it's a great film. It's not as good as the first one, but it's a good film. And then all of a sudden, like, you know, when you grow up a bit, you're a teenager, everyone's like, oh my god, Ghostbusters 2 was shit. And I'm just there like, I liked it, though.
I really liked it.
It wasn't as good as the first one,
yeah,
but it was good, still.
I actually really liked the...
I like the painting and stuff. That freaked me out a bit when I was younger.
Yeah, did I tell you that they didn't actually use the guy's voice on it? The actor's voice.
Oh no, I remember you telling me this. Yeah.
So basically, the guy went to the screening of the movie, right? Who played as what's it?
I can't remember his name.
The Scourge of Carpathia. I can't remember his name, ironically. But basically, he went to the screening expecting to be all happy, but they used someone else's voice. So he went to the screening like, oh, I'm going to show my family about all the part and then he walked out in like disgust.
That's bad that they never told him, by the way, we're just using your face and not your voice. I mean, all they had to do was tell him and he wouldn't have been pissed, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly. But he was apparently someone they forgot to tell him, basically.
It's kind of important. You need to tell people things.
Yeah, it's like, you've got the look, it's just that your voice and the mannerisms. We're just going to put this little thing over them and it's fine.
Anyway, we should probably move swiftly on. Do you want to talk about the Pascal Titan X?
Yeah, so basically the GP102,
right,
which is the Pascal. So I just want to clarify, there's two, this is the rumours, there's going to be 2 Titans. So the current Titan, the GP102, which is going to be released early next month, is going to be running GDDR5X memory. And it's going to cost $1,200.
Right.
But there's rumours that there's another Titan coming out, which is going to be running HBM2.
Right.
Which is going to be faster still. Which is supposedly going to be 50% faster than the 1080. Which is ridiculous. However, this one is 60% faster than the previous Titan. And puts out about 11 T-flops of computing performance. But it's only, and I'm roughly rounding up here, about 20% faster than the 1080, but they're charging double the price. So my argument is, like, look, you can get 2 1080s and ruffle stomp the Titan.
Yeah.
Or you can buy the Titan just to say you've got a Titan. And I suppose technically you could SLI 2 Titans, but that's like £2,400 or $2,400.
I was going to say, like, the Titan has always been very expensive for what it is. It's like, you know, for a single Titan you could get 2 pretty damn good GPUs and smash it.
Yeah, but the thing of original Titans, like what happened with the original Titan launch, is that normally most games run at single precision. Right. Which is basically the floating point performance. Most games use floating point to calculate various things, for example, whether it's computer-orientated tasks or whether it's lighting or whatever. So basically you don't need to be that precise. So when floating point are concerned, you don't need that many numbers, that level of accuracy, right? But what they did is they introduced the Titan as a cross between a workstation card,
right,
a Quadro, and the GeForce lineup. So it had improved double precision, but it also had good gaming performance. So basically the target market was a professional who, for example, would do a lot of 3ds Max work,
right,
but also a gamer.
Ah, okay.
So what happened, however, is obviously it became the flagship, but really the average person would have bought like the 780 Ti.
Yeah, which is the card I have now.
Yeah, exactly. So the problem was that the Maxwell Titan doesn't have the double precision, so it became just the just the flagship in terms of performance for gaming. So basically, the Pascal now is like, it's an improvement, but my money, I would not spend it on the Titan.
I was going to say, for that price, it's crazy. I mean, as you know, I'm looking at an upgrade soon, and I would not even, obviously it's not out yet, but let's say it was, it wouldn't even be on my mind. Like, I'm just torn between, like, oh, do I want to splurge on a 1070 or not, basically.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think, in my opinion, unless you're running like a 4K screen, and here's the problem: if you're running 4K, the Titan is going to be able to achieve 60 FPS at 4K, most likely, in most titles. But the key word is most, like, not all of them. So really, you're going to have to run 2 Titans to be doubly sure. So my thing is, like, just run 2 1080s. If you're running a smaller screen, like a 1440p or a 1080, honestly, an RX 480, a GTX 1060, a GTX 1070... it's ridiculous. Like the 1070 we've been sent, which is the special edition MSI one, is just freaking ridiculous in terms of the performance. Like Doom is running almost 60 FPS at 4K with like all the settings at max. And yes, it does dip occasionally, but obviously if you were to get 1080, it's going to be able to just ruffle stomp most cards. So personally, I'm not saying that the Titan's a bad purchase. If you've got the money, go for it. You know, I would. But
I mean, is it worth the value proposition though? Because like, surely you could just get 2 1080s and just ruffle stomp.
Yeah, you could, but let's say money's no object, then definitely go for the Titan. Like if I let's say for the sake of argument, I was a millionaire, I'd go for the Titan just to say that I've got a Titan. But then again, I'd probably consider the Titan, if money was no object, then upgrade to the new Titan. But for the average person, I would say a 1080 or 1070 is fine.
Yeah. Alright, so we've also got some updates from Intel with Coffee Lake and Zen. By the way, a Coffee Lake sounds like the best lake ever.
Yeah, like Intel have this like fetish for the lakes.
I was gonna say, isn't it like
Sky Lake, KB Lake,
yeah, Cannon Lake as well?
Yeah, it's like there's always bloody different lakes. So Coffee Lake, it's essentially, you know how, for example, you got a 6700K or whatever, and most of the time it's 4 cores, 2 threads per core, so 8 threads total.
Yeah.
Which has been a bit, well, stupid for some time for the mainstream. So what Coffee Lake's going to do is it's going to introduce a higher core count processor, but it's not coming out until next year.
Right.
So Zen, on the other hand, has been delayed for full-scale release until next year, early next year.
That's a shame.
But they are going to release it, it's just going to be in very limited quantities, supposedly. My thing is, it's like the new Skylake Plus, which is KB Lake's coming out this year, which is supposedly about 10% improvement over the current generation. So it's kind of like, there is no real right answer. I think if you've got a decent processor now, just wait for Zen and see what Zen's got, and then if not, then you can make a decision. But I personally think Intel have been way behind the curve. One of the reasons they've not added these extra cores is because they've been integrating the additional die space to the graphics, their GT4s, I think it's called. And they've also been putting that power, they've been trying to basically reduce the power consumption for the mobile division.
Right.
Because they laid off like 3,000 people a while back because they're...
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of funny though, because Intel have been like struggling a little bit, but AMD's last financial report, they've actually been doing a lot better.
That's good.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons is because of their GPU division. Plus as well, they also revealed that the Scorpio was one of the design wins they had. Remember that they revealed that they had 3 design wins? One of those was Scorpio, they've confirmed it. So the other one's obviously Neo. So so it makes me wonder about the NX, whether that's one of the design wins. Anyway,
another thing we had revealed was the Gears of War 4 PC exclusive features. Now, obviously, goes without saying that this is a Windows 10 only game, which means UWP up the wazoo. But they have promised things like unlocked frame rate and proper VSync support.
Hey, have they promised mods?
No, but to be fair, did Gears ever have mod support? Like, ever?
I think the original one might have.
I've not played it. I'm genuinely asking, did it have mod support? I don't think it did.
I never played it. I have a feeling...
I don't think that doesn't seem like that's something they would do.
Well, it was an Unreal version of the game, so technically it could have been modded. It might have had improved texture quality. I'm not sure, but I never looked into it, so I don't want to tell you it did. I do know that the PC version did have exclusive levels.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything like that this time. They've just talked about the features, as in, like, it's going to have 4K resolution texture pack and obviously support for ultra-wide resolution, and they've said that they're working on the UWP to make sure that we don't have issues like there was with Quantum Break. Apparently Quantum Break was a fucking disaster area on PC.
It was.
From what I heard. And basically they're just making sure that that isn't the case with Gears 4. Obviously the proof is in the pudding, but it's out in October, I believe, October the 11th or something along those lines, I think. So it's not going to be terribly long until it comes out. I just hope it's better, because I heard a lot of bad things about the Gears of War Ultimate Edition on PC. That had a lot of issues with VSync and a bunch of other stuff because of UWP. But to be honest, they just need to not have it only on the Windows Store. I mean, they said a while back that they're going to put all their games on Steam, but I don't think they're going to do that for their flagship titles like, say, Gears and Forza and probably Halo, assuming that ever comes out on PC.
I heard that, you know, Rise of the Tomb Raider?
Yeah.
Well, I supposedly, and I haven't got the numbers to back this up, but I heard that the sales figures for the Windows Store were tiny, like 2 or 3 or maybe 5% compared to Steam, which had the last of them.
That's what I heard as well, that the Steam sales figures absolutely trounced that on Windows 10 Store, because the Windows 10 Store is awful. Like, even if you ignore UWP, which by itself is a whole bucket full of awful, the store itself is just... It's terrible. What are they thinking?
To be honest, I also feel a lot of it also came down to the fact that people want to give money to Valve compared to Microsoft.
Well, it's not only that, it's just like the Windows Store doesn't have the best reputation from games for Windows Live, and they really needed to come out with a great store to be like, look, we've learned from it, we've changed, here's what you can do, here's a great store, like with a great dashboard. You know, just give us a version of the Xbox One store. That would be okay. At least that would be better than what we have now, which is basically a store meant for mobile.
I have to say, even buying games through the website, like the Xbox and whatever, on the Microsoft website, is shit. Like, it's not intuitive, and it's kind of weird because I think they went backwards a lot.
Yeah, I just don't know what they were thinking with the store design, because, I mean, obviously it's been a while since I looked at it, but I haven't heard any rumblings about a big update or anything. When a Killer Instinct came out on PC, I was curious, like, how much effort does it take me to find Killer Instinct? And you would think that Killer Instinct would be, like, when a new game comes out on Steam, a big one, like Call of Duty, just for example, it's on the top, you can't miss it, it's on that thing that rotates, right? Mm-hmm. You'd think there'd be something similar for the Windows Store, right? Hey, Killer Instinct just came out, you want to download it because it's free? Nothing like that. I had to search for it because I couldn't find it, so I literally had to type in Killer Instinct to the thing. Well, I shouldn't have to do that for a game that has just come out and one of your flagship titles for PC and Xbox One.
I have to say, off topic, but Killer Instinct is looking really good.
Yeah, I mean, I had a quick blast and it does seem really cool. I mean, I didn't play online or anything because I was just get my face smashed in, but it seemed good.
That's the issue. I don't have the time to
I don't have the time for fighting games, unfortunately. So I gave it a quick go and uninstalled it not long after because I was like, I don't have the time to get good at this. I just don't have the time. So the last thing we have on our agenda is a couple of bits regarding Zelda. And basically what we had is some interesting comments from Eiji Onuma, who basically said that the delay was pretty much his fault. That's why it's not coming out until next year. Because obviously a lot of people, including myself, assumed that the reason it was being delayed until March next year was so it could come out at the same time with the Wii U and the NX, like as an NX launch title. But while it's obviously going to be a bonus, apparently that's not actually the reason, or at least not the main reason. The main reason is Onuma said, you know, he obviously he saw an early build, of the game, loved it, but he said, oh, can you add? He basically said, oh, he had some criticisms, think, oh, you should add this in, but he didn't actually say what he liked about it. He just didn't mention that he loved it. He just wanted these things added in. So basically, what the team did is they completely changed everything and changed what he loved about the game. because of he feels he didn't communicate properly what he enjoyed about the demo or whatever. So they basically just completely changed it because of these changes that he suggested. He was like, no, I just wanted you to add these things in, leave it as it is. So then they had to go back and change it, but then also include these things that he suggested into the game.
I bet they were happy.
Yeah, I bet the design team was just like, oh my god, are you for real? So he basically made like, yeah, it was kind of my fault, my bad, sorry.
Yeah, as they're like slitting their wrist and committing Harakiri in the background.
But also in an investor call, they confirmed that the NX is still coming out March 2017 because there's been a lot of rumblings the last few weeks.
In the tumblings.
Yeah, just various rumours from sources and stuff that basically said things like, oh, production hasn't even started yet, or production's only just begun, and all these other things that kind of pointed to it's not going to make its March release date, especially since we haven't even seen the thing yet. But apparently no, it's still coming out in March, even though we don't even know what it looks like. Hopefully we'll get a Nintendo Direct soon, and it'll be all about the NX, and hopefully it won't be weird.
Did you fall asleep then?
I might have done, actually. I might be dreaming right now.
Possibly.
So, we have one last thing to discuss. You want to take the lead?
And that is Sonic Mania.
Tell me about Sonic Mania.
Well, it's happiness.
It is.
Right. So essentially, it's a reimagining of the original Sonic the Hedgehog 1, 2, 3 and Sonic CD.
No.
It's a good thing. They've kept it 2D, and they've just tarted up the graphics.
Right.
They've improved the gameplay.
Improved?
No, actually, I've seen videos of it.
Okay, how have they improved the gameplay?
What they've done is they've allowed Knuckles to be playable in all of the games.
Alright, cool.
They've rebalanced the difficulty, added extra enemies.
Mm-hmm.
They've added additional moves to the characters. So, for example, Sonic, you know how normally if you wanted to do like a spin dash, you had to
hold down and...
Yeah. Well, now, if you say, for example, you jump in midair,
right,
straight up, and then you do it, you can just go straight into a spin dash, so it keeps the speed up. Right, so it's
so rather than you have to stop, spin, and then let go... Oh, okay, alright.
So basically, they've just made the game more fluid. And they've added in additional graphical effects. So basically, they've improved the quality of the graphics.
So is this going to be like a bundle thing where you get 1, 2, and 3? Was it you said?
It's basically a big game. So it's like
so they're taking 1, 2, and 3 and put them into one game.
And Sonic CD. Yeah.
Wait. So hang on, I'm confused. So are they different games playable, or are they mashed them together? You confused me as to which one it is.
I think it's mashed together. So it's basically like this massive conglomeration. It looks really cool though.
I'm dubious.
If you honestly should see a trailer, because I was a bit concerned myself, and then I looked at it, I was like, wow, this actually looks quite awesome.
If this was anything but Sonic, I'd be like, oh cool, this sounds amazing. But Sega do not have a good history recently with Sonic. The last good Sonic game was Sonic Generations.
There's also going to be like brand new areas. I mean, like the graphics. Look at the graphics on it. It looks pretty damn awesome.
That does look cool. I'm not going to lie. An old school Sonic game sounds like a right treat. I'm not going to lie.
And it's coming out on all platforms apart from the NX.
So hang on. When's the release date? Sorry.
It's spring 2017.
So PC, PS4, and Xbox One in spring.
Yeah. I've got to say, I'm actually pretty happy with it.
I'll play it because it sounds like it could be good. She says tentatively.
I'm liking the look of it personally.
Yeah. It looks promising. I don't know. I don't want to get too hyped up about it because, as I said, the last good Sonic game was Sonic Generations.
Sonic 4 I actually quite liked.
I haven't played it, but
Episode 2 was pretty good.
I've heard nothing but bad things.
I actually really liked Episode 2. I never played the original, but I played Episode 2.
Fair enough.
Aside from that, there was one other little thing.
Yeah, we had pricing and release date for the Xbox One S. Unsurprising, there's various iterations of the thing. There's a 2 terabyte edition, which is $350, I believe, and it comes out on August the 2nd.
I still think they should just allow you to upgrade the hard drive.
Yeah, I mean, you can just plug in an external one, which is how it works with the Xbox One.
That's not what I meant.
No, I know, but I'm just saying you can do that with the original Xbox One, obviously. No word on if you can do it or not with the Xbox One S. I would assume so. Obviously, with the PS4, you can do it internally. With the Xbox One, you have to do it externally. There's a difference between the two. There's also a 500 gig and a 1 terabyte. There's $250 for the 500 gig and $300 for the 1 terabyte.
Seems reasonable with the pricing difference.
I mean, to be honest, I would be tempted just to get the 500 gig and then just buy an external.
Yeah, like basically
2 terabyte, whatever.
I believe there's also a way. I've never looked into it, but there is a way of actually putting in your own Xbox One internal hard drive.
I'm pretty sure it's only external with the Xbox One.
There is a way, but it's not exactly
allowed.
Well, it depends on your perspective of allowed.
Yeah, so it's quite expensive considering that the Xbox One Scorpio is going to be out like a year later.
Yeah, basically. But then we don't know the price of Scorpio.
No, but it's probably going to be about 400 or so. It's probably going to be what the Xbox One cost when it first came out, if I had to guess.
Probably.
So the Xbox One S is just for people who don't already have an Xbox One and don't want to pay rather $450 or whatever it's going to be for the Scorpio. I guess that's its function. But I still think they've made the Xbox One S irrelevant before it's even come out.
Yeah, basically.
It's like, unless you're not bothered about the extra performance, if you just want something cheap, why would you get an S when there's a Scorpio?
Well, it does have 4K playback for Blu-rays and stuff.
I know, and that's kind of nice, but it's not worth $250 minimum to do that, in my opinion. Especially if you already own an Xbox One, it's like there's no reason. You might as well just wait and get an Xbox One Scorpio if you want to upgrade.
To be honest, I'd rather put the money behind a PC.
Well, yeah, so would I, but I'm just talking from a console player's perspective here. Who just wants the ease of plug and play, you've got the Scorpio and you've got the S. You're going to get the Scorpio if you can afford it.
Plug and play, you mean like an operating system?
In theory, it's plug and play. In actuality, it's plug, wait for 2 hours for it to install, and then play.
Yeah, that's basically...
It's like, oh, cool, I really want to play that new game. Oh, downloading an update. It's going to take like an hour. Okay, go do something else for a while.
You know what? There was a game. I think it was. You know what? That was it. It was Dark Souls on the Xbox One. I was gonna play Dark Souls 3 the other day, and I was plugged it in. I was like, okay, I haven't played this in a while. Yeah, you need to download the dashboard update. Download the dashboard update. Okay, now you need to download.
Update the game.
Yeah, now. I was like, okay, you know what? I just want to play the game offline. No, you can't do that. The game requires to be online. Bill, you're not understanding me. I don't give a fuck about other people. Other people can burn in a fire for all I care about right now. I will unplug the goddamn Ethernet cable. I just want to play fucking offline. No, you're going to download this 2 gigabyte pack. Alright, you know what? I'm going to play on my PC. I was like,
don't you miss the days of like the PS2 where you just put in the disc and that was it?
Yeah, I'm like, you know what? You
don't have to download fucking trophies or dashboard updates.
I'm like, son, you don't understand the words that are coming out of my mouth. I don't care about a dashboard update right now. I understand that you've, might have improved a little bug fix and maybe it fixed a typo, but I don't think you understand me. I
just want to play video games.
I've got an hour to kill, right? That means I just want to put the game in and, play it. No, you will download this patch. I'm like, okay, how big's the patch? 400 megabytes.
There's no escape from the patch.
Yeah, there was like 400 megabyte update or whatever stupidity it was.
Oh, dear.
And then I was like, okay. And then the patch for the bloody Dark Souls.
It's okay for you because you've got pretty decent internet, but imagine if you've got fucking paper internet like some people have. It's just like...
Yeah,
and I just want to play video games.
And what pissed me off as well, it's like... With Dark Souls, I don't care about online co-op or anything. It's just I just want to play the game.
Yeah, he's a heathen. He doesn't play with the messages on.
No, I don't care about the messengers. I don't care about the messages. The messages can go die. I just want to play the game.
You go to hell.
You go to hell, you die. I don't care about seeing... You know what it is? It's not the messages that get me. You know what gets me? It's the...
Invasions?
No. Actually, that doesn't bother me.
What is it then?
It's seeing the ghosts of other people running around the world. It takes me out of the game.
Why?
Because for me, it's like, I'm someone, if I'm playing a single player game, I don't want...
I thought, if anything, it would be the message that says, try tongue, but hole, that would take you out of the game.
No, it's like, I don't even read the messages. But for me, what gets me, it's like seeing other people like farting around. I don't want that. It's like
To be fair, I'm teasing, but that is a perfectly valid way to play the game. I just like the messages because they can be helpful sometimes.
You know what? If I'm stuck, I will just look at a guide. Like, I don't care. For me,
I just more that, you know, it'll be like beware of left or something like that, and there'll be an ambush around the corner or something.
I think what gets me is, for me personally, I don't like seeing other people floating around, because it just makes me think, oh, I'm not really alone, and it goes completely against the story. So it's like you're supposed to be the only, you know, the ashen one or whatever. You're supposed to be like the savior of the world, but I see like, you know, 100 other little like bills running around. Nah. It gets me.
Fair enough.
It's like, for example, you know, multiplayer, for example, in Mass Effect. I can't deal with stuff like that because if I'm playing a game like Final Fantasy, I don't want to see like another Cloud Strife running around. Because
no, I mean with Mass Effect I can understand because like it is very, very story driven, whereas Dark Souls the story is very much in the background and you have to go looking for it. So yeah,
I'm just that type of person. Like, but then again, I don't.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
Like, if I'm going to play a multiplayer game, it will be, you know, something like, I don't know, like whatever game, and that'll be it. And but I like my multiplayer experiences. Like I like my people at very large distances typically.
Alright, well I think that's us done for this week, unless there's anything else you want to touch on.
Yeah, so a couple of people have been messaging me about the Neo breakdown. That will be done over the next week or so.
He's been reviewing all the things.
So basically we got sent we bought an RX 480 to review, and then moments later we got sent a GTX 1070 with only a week to review it. Then the hard drive failed on one of our review rigs, but it was only the operating. Well, it's more of an OS failure, but still. But basically, it couldn't boot properly into Windows. So then I had to reinstall it onto a different PC, which took about 2 days. Then I had to reset the time basically for review. Then after that, we got sent a few other bits and pieces for review as well. And also, I've just gotten the interview back from the guys over at Kronos.
Yeah, so basically, he's had a lot on his plate, so bear with him, he will get to the Neo thing eventually.
Yeah, basically, assuming I don't slip my wrists in the meanwhile.
Yes,
yeah,
basically.
Pretty much.
I'm on suicide watch, don't worry.
Alright, so I think that's about it.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you very much for listening, guys. We'll see you next week.